Law Talk with Nick Maruchak, thanks to MKI Legal, your trusted employment and family lawyers.
I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Yeah, Nick's in the office. I think you made it through the rain, did you, mate? Jeez, it keeps coming down out there. I can hear it on the roof from time to time, buddy. I mean, you get through all right?
Yeah, I parked right at the front of the building and I still got saturated.
Yeah, it's just belting down. There's some reports, by the way, of, I'll say snow in inverted commas, heading to the southwest. So we'll wait and see if that comes to fruition. I would suggest it probably means places like Bluff Knoll.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. This is an interesting one. I kind of know a bit of the background of this, Nick. 133 882 if you'd like some advice around something that is just affecting you sort of legally and you're looking for a way around or through what the problem is. Peter's on the line. Now, this is about his iPhone. G'day, Peter. Peter's on the line. Now, this is about his iPhone. G'day, Peter.
G'day, Gary, and Nick, good morning to you. Poor bloke getting wet. And I'm going to squeeze some legal advice out of you.
Yeah, go for it.
That's my job.
I have an Apple iPhone 12, and the telephone earpiece has stopped operating. Now, I know this is an issue that affects a lot of people. In fact, it affects your producer, it affects some of my friends, and we have different model iPhones. The iPhone 12 has a known failure in the components and circuitry of the Apple or the earpiece. They published it on a random obscure page on the website. I mean, if you look on the sitemap, how many thousands, tens of thousands of pages do they have? I went into Apple Booragoon yesterday to have it attended to. Ended up going through the consultant and then onto the lead technician. His name is Jack. And Jack made it absolutely quite clear that it's a known fault. They are aware of it. Apple published a notice on their page saying, bring your phone back in and they'll replace it. They put a nominal period of 3 years after date of purchase. And obviously, if my phone had stopped working in December last year, they would have repaired it at no charge. The fact that they randomly choose their own optional date, even though it's a known fault, and never issued it. Let's face it, Apple knows my mobile number. They know my email through my Apple ID. They never issued a warning to any of us saying that you could have it repaired or this is a known fault. Please bring it in and have it investigated. They just put a page on their website. They want to charge me $486 to repair the phone. They will not budge on discount. They will not budge on goodwill. They are hiding behind this page that they've posted on their website somewhere. And let's face it, nobody knows where it is. My concern was when I then asked them, well, look, obviously, if I'm going to invest money in the phone, I want to make sure that it's going to be long-lasting. But also, if I consider trading on a new phone when the iPhone 16 comes out, what is my phone worth? $330. So I said, when it comes out, you'll give me $330. They said, no, the value may change then. We will reassess it at that point. So I said to them, so you want me to spend $486 to repair a phone that's only worth $330 for a trade-in in future if I stay in the Apple goodwill chain? He says, that's the policy, but that's not what we're telling you. We're just letting you know your options should you wish to go ahead with it. Now, I want to know, how can an organization such as Apple, with a known fault, which they published and admitted to on their website, put a nominal date for repair and will not budge? Nick, do I have any stand in here?
There we go.
Okay, so Peter, so your phone was from 2012, is that?
No, it's an iPhone 12. 2020 they were made, I think.
Okay,
Yes.
What year was it?
December 2020.
2020. Okay, so what the law applies to you is Australian consumer law. So this, whenever you buy consumer goods, this automatically applies to every transaction. You can't contract out of it. And in the past, I know Apple tried to sell extra insurance to people and they got in trouble for that. So what the law says is the good must be of acceptable quality and it has to last long enough. It has to last for a reasonable period of time, right? It has to be durable enough to function for a reasonable period of time.
What's that, though? That's the tricky bit. What's a reasonable period of time?
Every good is different, right? So a washing machine, an expensive washing machine might be a lot longer than a phone. They take into account the nature of the good, the price, any statements made about the good. So, for example, more expensive goods are expected to last longer than cheaper goods. So the question is, what is a reasonable period of time that an iPhone has to be durable enough to function properly? At the very least, 24 months, which is usually typically the length of a contract. So you've got 2 years there. Can you push it out to, I forget, was it 2020? So we're coming up to 4 years now. So the question is, can an iPhone last 4 years? I think.
Nick.
But if they've admitted the fault,
they've admitted the fault.
Yes, that's my point. They published this fault prior to any warranty experience. It's a nominal date that they've chosen. It's a known fault. It's not something that they're hiding. Now, know that your producer's got an iPhone 11.
Same problem. It's annoying as all, mate. Can I just interrupt here? It's very, very annoying because whenever he speaks on his iPhone, he's on speaker because it won't work otherwise.
So when did you find out?
Imagine me in the shopping centre or yesterday when I phoned your producer, I was in the iPhone store. He could barely hear me and I can barely hear him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a known fault. And the difference is it's not something that, look, what's a reasonable period? They published, we've stuffed up here. But they never contacted me. They never emailed me. Now, if there's a brake fault on a motor vehicle, they contact the drivers and the owners.
It's a recall.
They never issued a recall.
So when did you find out about the fault? When did you find out the phone wasn't working properly?
Well, it stopped working in my ear probably last week, Wednesday or Thursday. And I thought, obviously I've just got to connect a Bluetooth speaker or something. I thought maybe I'm connected to a phone inside the house or the speaker on the TV or something. But when I finally realized that it's a fault, I tried troubleshooting. I went on Apple website for troubleshooting, and that's where I discovered the difference is I'm not looking at the consumer law. I'm looking at the fact that they know about it.
Yeah,
but they never asked me to come in and have it assessed.
But it lasted 4 years, right? So as long as it got past the 2 year period, the reasonable period, if it breaks after the reasonable period, it's I don't think they're liable for it, right? So
even though they've admitted it's their fault.
They've admitted a fault, but so that's why they gave the 3 year period. It's probably more generous than the expectation life of the phone. So I think it would be a hard case to win. I'm not saying it's not impossible. I think you can write to them and
with a legal letter saying, given you've admitted fault and that this product is now defective because of your admission of fault, I request you to replace it. Look, the new model.
Try that.
What about that?
But my view on is that they gave 3 years for people to come in and claim it. So that was a 3 year period for everyone for their phones to break. And if your phone broke during that 3 year period, that's long enough for a phone to last. And that's when you. So if your phone broke within 2 or 3 year period, then you've got 6 years from that date to make a claim because it didn't last. But if your phone broke outside of that reasonable period, then I think it'll be challenging. But write to them and see if you can just twist their arm a little bit and have a crack. That's what I'd say.
It sounds like, Peter, you might have to just sort of suggest that you're taking legal advice around their admission of fault and the need to replace your phone completely. And you know what? And Apple, I've found them previously. I had an issue. And they just very quickly just dealt with it. They just went into the back and came out with a new one and gave it to me and said, thanks very much. So I don't know. Have a crack at it, Peter. It sounds like you've got some grounds to try. 133 882. We've got to move along, though. Steve is there. Steve, what's happening?
Morning, guys. How you going?
Good, mate.
We've been renting at a house now for about 7 years, and we've been building for the last probably 2.5 years, and we've notified the agent, the property manager, that we've been building and when we're going to get closer to our key handover date if we can negotiate the terms of our rental agreement. So we've been on fixed agreements, for the last 7 years, and then we signed up a 6-month agreement in March, and then if we can go to a periodic lease after the end of October until we sort of get an actual date of key handover for when we can move into our new home. Just yesterday we received a termination notice that they're not going to extend our rental lease. They're not going to give us a periodic lease or anything like that. So for about 7 weeks, we're not sure what we can do. We don't have the rental, so we've got to move out. Well, I've gone to Greenleaf. I've got a phone appointment with them on Monday, and then I've also set a court hearing with the Magistrates Court on the 3rd of October, and we've got to vacate on the 5th of October. Just wonder if you can give us any advice. We just think it's a bit unreasonable that they haven't allowed, just to extend it for another 7 weeks, just so we've got time to move out and move in, and,
have they given a reason?
Have
they given a reason
No.
that's when your lease is up? So we just want to get someone else in. Is that what they're saying? Or
Well, they just don't want to renew it. They're only offering, I think it was a 3-month or 6-month fixed term, which we'd be paying rent and we won't be living in there.
Yep. So basically, Residential Tenancies Act is the law that applies, right? So you have a lot of rights as a tenant. When you're on a fixed term lease and that fixed term finishes, that will automatically jump over to a periodic lease on a month-to-month periodic lease. Right?
Unless the landlord decides not to, or you decide.
Yeah. So the lease is expired and you didn't enter into a new agreement, right? So you're on a periodic lease now. And when you're on that periodic lease, is that right?
You will be. He will become on a periodic lease, but he won't be because they're not prepared to keep it going, are they?
Yeah. So then...
No, that's right. Yeah, they're not.
So when does the lease expire?
So the lease expires on the 5th of October. And then our key handover date for our new house is on the 22nd of November.
He's got this gap, you see.
Yeah. And when do they tell you to vacate?
On the 5th of October, when our agreement ends.
Yep. So that is the landlord's right, is my view here. So if they didn't give you any notice saying that they will end the lease on the 5th of October and you stayed there past that 5th of October date, then you would have got at least 60 days notice, right? Because they need to give you at least 60 days notice to terminate an agreement that's periodic.
It's their right. Can I jump in? I'll give you a flip side here of this one, mate. I know someone who asked the tenant if they would like to stay on a periodic lease because there was going to be a gap for different reasons for the owner of the property to come back to their property. So there was going to be a gap. So they offered up the periodic lease and the tenants turned it down. So I think it's just the way it works, mate.
Yeah. But you've got that. Yeah. It's the community. You got Green Circle. Still have the meeting with them because they'll do a deeper dive into see if there is any other breaches of the Residential Tenancy Act, and to see if there's anything you can use in your negotiations with the landlord. So if they might be able to find, hey, the landlord didn't quite comply with this provision, so you might use that in your negotiation to try and negotiate a little bit more time. So,
all right.
So would I have to do a bit of research?
When you go to the Community Legal Centre, Green Circle, they will just chat to them about it. But, the landlord has to give you written notice before the fixed term expires to let you know that they want possession of the property back.
They've done that.
They've done that.
All right. Okay, Steve.
Sorry, because there's a court hearing date as well, obviously we can still go ahead with that, but can they still kick us out even though it's gone to court?
Oh, so
he's applied to go to the magistrates court. So they want to have that hearing to find out. Yeah, can they before that date?
So basically, if you want to push, if you want to do something, push back a little bit. This is what you can do. You don't have to leave the premises until you get a court order, right? So you can technically stay in the property. They can't come in there with muscle and move you out. So you can just stay there. And then
until the court case
is decided. The court cases do move quickly, but I'll just give you a warning. That is not legal advice. That comes with risk, because then they can put you on a database. If they can put you on a bad tenant database. By the way, you can request the landlord. The landlord has to tell you, when you make a request, you can ask them, have I been put on this bad tenant database? There's lots of laws that apply under the Residential Tenancy Act about that, because they can be unfairly done. But if you breach a court order, if they have to go to court to kick you out, they can put you on that bad tenant
Risk,
database.
risk involved there, Steve. I don't know. I think you need to get some more advice from, say, that Green Circle group. I
But
think that's what you
if
do.
you've got your own house, you may not rent again, right?
Yeah.
So, who cares?
Yeah, all right. We'll see. 133 882. If people would like to speak to Nick Maruchak, we'll be back soon.
Law Talk with Nick Maruchak. Thanks to MKI Legal, your trusted employment and family lawyers.
All right, I think we can sneak in another one. Brad's there. G'day, Brad. What's up?
How you going, mate? Just quickly, I've been employed by a company. I've just left them for 9.5 months. No super's been paid, and previous employees as well haven't had super pay for up to 3 years. I'm just wondering what our avenues are. I've rang the tax department previously, and we got nowhere with them. I'm just wondering, do we do like a class action to try and recover this, or what avenue? What can we do to get this super paid to us?
Yeah. So how long was this an old company or a current company?
It was my previous company. The company's still trading as it speaks now, but I've moved on to another company now.
How long ago was this when the super was unpaid?
Super's been unpaid for 9 months of employment and another month and a half since then.
So how long ago did you stop working for them?
A month and a half.
Oh, a month and a half. Okay, so new laws came in quite recently where they've given employees more rights for unpaid super. So superannuation is part of the National Employment Standards. So now that if an employer does not pay super, then the employee can commence a claim to get a fine against the business, and to make a claim. You can make a small claim in the Family and Federal Circuit Court. Under the Fair Work Act, you can recover it. So those laws came in quite recently as well. So that will entitle you. So I think write to them first and say, if you don't pay it, we're going to make a claim. We're going to seek the repayment of the super through the court system, and we're also going to get a fine against you for not paying it, and also try the Fair Work Ombudsman as well, because they can now regulate super. Now, the Fair Work Ombudsman government department, they're busy, they can't deal with everything, but give them a go as well. And it's a shame that ATO didn't help.
Federal, though, isn't it? Federal Ombudsman.
Yep.
The Fair Work.
We've exhausted that avenue as well, because there was unpaid normal pay that they haven't done as well, and penalty rates and stuff that weren't paid. So the Ombudsman, they've tried to get in contact with them now for 3 weeks. There's been no answer. No one will reply back to their emails. They've blocked my phone number. They've blocked my email.
All right.
This is all illegal, by the way. I mean, that's in a
yeah.
nutshell. What's happened to you is illegal. So
Family and Federal Circuit Court, time to make a claim potentially, and you can make a claim against the business and also the owner personally. Anyone who was involved in the transaction, if it's quite a recent unpaid super, which this sounds because the laws changed quite recently. Yeah. So the Family and Federal Circuit Court of Australia, that's a good place to go. And so write to them first and say you're going to sue them, the business and the individual, because if the business goes bust, you can go after the individual.
This has happened before. And, of course, Brad, I know your problem is that you can't find the bastards that are doing this. Brad, thanks very much for that. Run out of time. Good luck with it all, everybody. Nick Maruchak, thanks very much for coming in. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Gary.
Sorry we're rushed. It's 4 minutes to 11.